I'm on a fabulous location. I'm in Maui, Hawaii, and I'm here to talk to you about the JVC GY-LS300. Now, I first reviewed this camera about a year ago and I was seriously impressed then, but what I got to say now is that I have used this on many jobs over the last 10 or 11 months and I've really got to know the camera. And it's fine to talk about a camera when you first get your hands on it and say what you think, but really at that stage it's just test footage. It's not till you get out on a job, really use it, and then you know how it performs. And having used this on quite a lot of jobs, I think it's a fantastic camera. Now, to start with, it's seriously lightweight, which means if I'm using it handheld, if I got it on the tripod, I can just take this anywhere I need to go and I'm not struggling. And it performs like the bigger cameras. And when I say performs like the bigger cameras, I'm talking the quality, the results. Now, I don't mean that it's exactly the same, but it's close. Now, a lot of it comes down to how well you can use the camera. And having used this one a lot, I just want to point out some of the killer features. Now, the first thing is, and I said it, that it's very light and manageable. So you can run around all day with that in your hand and not really get worn out, and you don't need a massive tripod to make it work. The other thing I absolutely love about it is that it's got a micro 4/3 mount. I happen to be a big fan of the micro 4/3 system, and I've got a few lenses in my pocket here. And what I love is look how small the system is. So I can keep lenses in my pockets and keep a lens on the camera, and basically I'm set for whatever I need to cover. And it's lightweight and it's high quality. Now, these lenses are not particularly cheap, but the quality is there, and it's small, compact and light. And that matters because I have to run around quick, I have to grab the shots, and everyone's happy as long as you get the results. And all the switches are very accessible, as you would expect them to be on a much larger camera. You've got your ND filters, you've got your gain control, your white balance, shutter, auto exposure level, all the important things. And then you've got your XLRs. And I've done a lot with this camera, recording audio, recording interviews, shooting on location, using it in manual, using it in automatic. From my point of view, this has to be the best of the automatic performers in terms of cameras that I've ever seen. You can throw that into automatic and run around and shoot, and it doesn't do horrible shifts in exposure. It does nice shifts in exposure. Even audio, you put it into automatic and you get tremendous results. Now, I'm not preaching that we should be using our cameras in automatic, but for a lot of what I do, small camera in my hands, running around quick, you get really good results. I'm going to hand over now to another camera operator I've been working with. Her name is Jane Petrie, and Jane has been using the LS300 all week. So let's get a bit more feedback from someone else other than myself and see what Jane has to say about using the JVC GY-LS300.
I've not really done much with JVC, to be fair. I work a lot with other makes and other types of camera, so I was obviously interested to see what it was like. Initially I sort of wondered whether the menus would be similar to what I'm used to, and how quickly it would be to kind of get on board with it, you know, how easy it would be to get used to the camera. It's funny because when I first started shooting with it, the monitoring on it, the viewfinder, you know, maybe isn't the best, and I started filming with it wondering if it was actually, you know, going to turn out okay. And then I saw the footage and was really pleasantly surprised, and it really did look very good. And so I kind of just trusted in it and just went with it. And yeah, it looked great actually.
So before we came on this job, I handed the camera to Jane. I gave her one lens primarily to work with, which is a Panasonic 14-140. Jane had not used this camera before, and I wanted her to get familiar with basically the feel in her hands and being able to work with it. And not only that, I said to Jane, I said, use this in automatic if you're happy to. By all means, go into manual, use it in manual, but you can get really good results in automatic. It's quick to focus, it's good to expose, it gives you the results, and it lets you move quick.
A lot of what I shoot, I do have to set in manual, so I must admit I was a little bit like, really auto? Because, you know, it's what you're used to, is how you usually shoot. And I was really impressed with how it reacted to certain situations. And as an all-rounder camera, it was a really good camera to use.
I've also had it in the hands of another operator. This is quite a big job. We've had quite a few people shooting on it. A guy called Chris Roberts. Now Chris has been filming with the JVC GY-LS300, and he's also edited all the footage that has come out of this camera during the week.
I thought the JVC compared to a lot of the other cameras that we were using incredibly well. The pictures were vibrant, they had a nice sharpness to them, really showed the colours off for the location that we were working in, which was absolutely fantastic. The second part of it is, of course, that I also was asked to occasionally pick up a camera and go and shoot. Between you and me and obviously everyone else. It's been a while since I've sort of picked up a camera in anger, properly in anger. And to be able to sort of pick up the JVC, it was really nice, it was small, you know, it wasn't like these great big cameras that I used to use many, many years ago. It was intuitive, the buttons and the menus were very intuitive. But the great thing about it was that you could just throw it into an automatic mode and have confidence that what you were actually going to produce was going to be great.
In low light, it struggles a little. The autofocus does struggle a little. Over daytime, I didn't have any issues, and we were out and about. We were doing a lot of activities and moving around, having to be in confined spaces and having to be in places that you can't necessarily get to very easily. I'd definitely be happy using it again. It's a nice little camera. It's a good all-rounder to have for something that you need to be on the move and quick and getting sort of quick reactions and stuff. It's really good. And the bonus to having the XLR for audio as well is great for interviews and just obviously ambient sound and stuff, to have a top mic, and that's a really good bonus.
Not being a cameraman, one of the things that often makes me a little bit unsure about the technology that I'm using is all of the things that could go wrong. I think with the JVC, just having that confidence that you can throw it into auto mode and come back with some great shots, actually that did it for me.
I'm sure you can tell, one, I'm very enthusiastic about the camera, which I was from the moment I started using it close to a year ago. And as far as I'm concerned, this camera is a real performer, and the results, they show it all.
Whenever I'm working with a client, they will often say, you know, we're using this camera with this lens on this, and to be honest, I'm not really that interested. You know, the cameraman, the DOP, whoever, will make decisions based on budget and requirements for the shoot and so on and so forth. Ultimately, when it gets to me, it's about the pictures. It's about how good do those pictures look, and I really don't care what it was shot on necessarily. Just how do I work with it? Can I get it into the system? What's, you know, the hard drive speed and all the rest of it. But it is about the pictures ultimately, and more material these days, you have to sort of reach out to your audience and grab them by the quality of the pictures. And I think something like the JVC camera that we were using actually allows us to do that at a great price point.
I like the way it operates. I said this in my last report on this, which was close to a year ago, that it's like a big camera shrunk down. So you've got everything you need on it, and all the settings are in the right place. That's what I'm used to.
For the cost of the camera, I think it does still compete with other cameras that are maybe a lot more expensive, maybe that supposedly can shoot a lot better. And I think it really does hold up to that in a professional environment.
By and large, I would say the vast majority of footage was absolutely fantastic.
And of course, the biggest deal of all is what the pictures look like, and the pictures are good.